If you're a flight instructor, you're not just a teacher, you're an architect. You are literally designing the foundation of a pilot's entire skill set. So today, we're going to break down the official blueprint for that whole process, mastering course and lesson development straight from the fundamentals of instructing. Let's get into it.
All right, here's a game plan. We'll start with the absolute bedrock of all teaching. Then we'll zoom out to look at the master plan, going from the entire course all the way down to a single lesson. From there, we're going to draft the detailed blueprint for that lesson, pick our construction methods for actually delivering it, and then finally add those finishing touches that really make the learning stick.
Okay, so before we can even think about building anything, we have to understand the core process. Every single time you teach something, whether it's in a quiet classroom or a noisy cockpit, it follows a fundamental four-step cycle.
These are the 4 pillars. First up, preparation. This is your homework, right? What are you teaching? How are you going to teach it? And who are you teaching it to? Next, presentation. That's where you actually deliver the goods. Then comes the part that is absolutely critical for aviation, application. This is where the student gets their hands dirty and actually does the thing. And finally, review and evaluation, where you check their work and measure it against the standards. You get these 4 steps right, and you've built a rock-solid foundation.
With that foundation solidly in place, let's pull back and get the architect's view. We need a master plan. We're going to start at the highest level, the entire project, and then drill down to the nitty-gritty of a single room.
So the highest level is the course of training. You can think of this as the entire housing development. It's the whole program, the big picture, all designed to get a student to a major goal, like earning their private pilot certificate.
Now, inside that development, every single house needs a plan, right? Well, that's your syllabus. It's the outline for one specific course, and it organizes all the individual lessons into a logical sequence. It's basically the floor plan that shows how all the different rooms connect. And that brings us to the most detailed level of all, the lesson plan. If the syllabus is the floor plan for the house, the lesson plan is the detailed construction blueprint for one single room. It has every specific detail you need to pull off one effective lesson. So let's focus on that blueprint, because honestly, this is where great instruction happens, in the thoughtful, careful design of each individual lesson. A well-crafted lesson plan is your single most important tool, period. A great blueprint has a few essential parts. It's got to have a clear objective. What will the student actually be able to do by the end? Something like perform a short field landing within 100 feet of the designated point. It also details the content, the schedule, and the equipment needed. And crucially, it outlines what you're going to do as the instructor and what the student is expected to do. And maybe most important of all, it defines the completion standards. This isn't just a feeling, it's the measurable, objective criteria pulled directly from the Airman Certification Standards that tells you both when the job is done right. Now, how we structure the material within the lesson is just as important. You wouldn't build a roof before the foundation, right? Well, knowledge works the exact same way. You can organize it from past to present, or maybe from the most used skills to the least used. But the 2 most powerful methods in aviation are simple to complex, mastering straight and level flight before you even think about a chandelle, and known to unknown, like using a student's experience driving a car to explain how to taxi an airplane. Okay, the blueprint is done. It's perfect. Now it's time for construction. The big question is, what tools are you going to use to actually build that knowledge and skill in your student? You have a whole toolkit of delivery methods to choose from. You can use a lecture for new topics, a guided discussion to get them thinking critically, or even group learning for problem solving. But in aviation, let's be real, 2 methods are king. The most important tool in that kit is absolutely the demonstration performance method. This is the heart and soul of flight instruction. It's so simple, yet so powerful. First, you explain it. Then, you demonstrate it. Then you let the student perform it while you supervise and coach them along. And finally, you evaluate how they did. That cycle is just perfect for teaching physical skills. And this, of course, leads to the big question every instructor faces before a lesson. With all these options, all these different tools in the box, which one should you choose? And the answer is really a core principle of risk management. There is no single best method. A professional instructor assesses the situation, the student, the subject, the objective, and then selects the right tool, or maybe a combination of tools, for that specific job. Your ability to make that call is what separates the good instructors from the great ones. Our structure is built. The walls are up. Now it's time for the finishing touches, those extra elements that really enhance the learning and tie everything together. Instructional aids, like a simple whiteboard, a model airplane, or a presentation, they're not just props, they are incredibly powerful tools for learning. They can clarify complex ideas, like the 4 forces of flight. They grab a student's attention, and here's the big one, they seriously boost retention. Just remember, a simple drawing can often explain an idea way better than 5 minutes of you just talking. And this all comes together through what's called integrated flight instruction. This picture of the building blocks, it is the perfect way to visualize it. It just means you teach students to perform maneuvers by reference to both the outside visual cues and the flight instruments, right from the very first lesson. You don't treat them like separate things. This builds a much deeper, more solid foundation of aircraft control, which ultimately leads to those huge achievements, like the first solo. Ultimately, what we've been talking about isn't just paperwork. A syllabus, a lesson plan, these are the architectural documents for a pilot's entire career. The habits, the understanding, the skills you build in those critical first few hours, they will stay with them forever. So the question to ask yourself is, are you building a foundation that's designed to last?